नमस्कार दर्शक मित्रों, थिंकलाइन के नए संस्करण में आपका फिर से स्वागत है. वेरी वार्म वेलकम टू द न्यू एडिशन ऑफ थिंकलाइन. As you know, as you can see, our guest is Dr. Adityanjee. When Dr. Adityanjee comes, we get a lot of geopolitical news with relevance to India. And things have been happening fast in Bharat. Suddenly, everybody who is something in politics used to say that this cat and mouse game between ED and our Sarji, Arvind Kejriwal, will go on till 25th of May, and after that something will happen. But then suddenly something happened. What was that? Many people do not have the idea. Because there's a famous book which said 198 ways of having a non-violent regime change somewhere in USA. Many ways were given. And be surprised. That was followed. Some people were trying to prop up someone from somewhere. Let me give you two things. दो चीज मैं आपको छोटी सी बता देता हूं. अरविंद केजरीवाल के मंत्रिमंडल के एक प्रधान ने भारत के त्रासवादी घोषित किए गए खालिस्तानी पन्नू के साथ में बात की है. पन्नू एडमिट कर चुका है कि वो कुछ $6.5 बिलियन चुनाव के लिए आम आदमी पार्टी को दे चुका है. Well, things start from there. And then this Hawala racket comes in. Many more things. Snooping. Who taught an IRS officer, an income tax officer, to snoop, which he was doing from his house? In fact, before giving to Dr. Adityanjee, I'm stating you the facts on the side where Indian diplomacy is concerned. He had officially asked for a permission from the Ministry of Home Affairs to buy an apparatus like Pegasus to snoop on people. Thank God Amit Bhai was sitting there. And things did not go that far. He was denied that. What is all this going on? He was nurtured. He was brought up. His appearance of a loose pants, oversized shirts, gel pen, oiled hair, kattar imandar image. He was groomed. It looks like that. All these things came in so fast, and some of the revelations came so fast that despite not wanting it, let me tell you very, very frankly, despite not wanting it, Indian government had to act. And Kejriwal was so much reluctant to be going to ED not because of liquor gate or anything. That's very small thing when compared to the things we are going to talk about. Quite a few of you know. काफी लोगों को आपको पता भी है, थोड़ी सी शंका भी है. Was he a stooge? Was he a mole? Well, you are getting indications. Germans have said he must get a fair trial. What does German have to do with this? What's happening here? Was he a mole? Or is he a mole? And the game of deep state runs very, very deep. And Indian government got it. And that's why this premature arrest. That's what I think. What does Dr. Adityanjee think? And how he correlates the facts? Well, that's why we are talking today. Dr. Adityanjee, आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है. Very warm welcome. You use only English because that will be much clearer for people to understand of such nature when we have a topic of such nature. Hindi, yes, आप कह सकते हैं. Whatever you want. Sir.
Thank you very much indeed, Himanshu ji, for inviting me once again on Thinkline. And events have been happening, but from the outset, I will try to dissociate, differentiate, and demarcate the official action of independent statutory agencies from the government of India. Let me make it very clear, although I'm sitting from outside, the action against Mr. Kejriwal is not by government of India, the political entity, the ruling party. It is an administrative and official action by an independent statutory agency that monitors corruption, Enforcement Directorate. And if you know the sequence of events, Enforcement Directorate gave enough rope to Mr. Kejriwal. Yes. Whatever he did with that rope from October of 2023, when the first summons were given to him to cooperate. Failure to cooperate with the investigation of a central agency, which is a statutory agency, itself is very suspicious. When you have been summoned 9 times and you give silly arguments like, well, I'm going to Goa for elections, I'm going to Vipassana for 2 weeks, the summons are illegal, there's a conspiracy behind to arrest me, you go to High Court, and High Court asks the first question, why are you not responding to summons? So without attributing political motives to Government of India, I would say that it was a fair due process awarded to this arrested individual, whatever his position was in the political hierarchy. And there is a definite problem when a sitting chief minister is involved in a scam that leads to loss of income to the government, whether it is state government or union territory government, that is immaterial. It does not give you any privilege that you are not immune from arrest if you are indulging in corruption. And there is a video clip going on in which Mr. Kejriwal says that, if any of my MLAs is involved in corruption, they are not my relatives, they can go to jail. If Manish Sisodia indulges in corruption, he is not my relative, he can go to jail. And if I'm involved in corruption, I can go to jail. And at certain periods of time, this guy was daring the ED to come and arrest him if they have evidence against him. Well, this is exactly what happened. ED was very, very certain. So I am trying to dispel that notion that it is done with a political motive. This was a long-standing case ED was pursuing about corruption issues. This is not the first time. There are other members of the cabinet who are, for similar or other reasons, other scam in jail.
Yes.
This guy came on the plank of India against corruption, and he himself was corrupt. And even in the India against corruption agitation, he gave a statement that, it is a point of, worry for us that if the alternative that comes out of this agitation becomes corrupt, what will we do? So he was thinking far ahead. This guy is a charlatan. He utilized that agitation to come to power. Now, coming to who are the people behind him and what is happening geopolitically, I think that's very important. You have already talked about Pannu, but you have to see Arvind Kejriwal's history. He has been hobnobbing with foreign organizations and foreign agencies for a long period of time. This is not the first thing. And what you failed to mention was in the German foreign minister statement, that there's presumption of innocence till proven otherwise. Not true when ED summons are sent to you. You need to know the Indian law. If you are arrested by ED for any financial scam, the onus lies on you to prove that you did not indulge in corruption. And Arvind Kejriwal and his lawyers did not utter a word about corruption, the money, the bribes paid, 45 crores for Goa elections, the 100 crore benefit because of increase in the profit rate for the liquor companies, and there was nothing said about it in the court, because there's no kind of argument about that, because ED has the documentation. But there was one more thing that came out in the seizure and search. And I read on two websites. One is Business Today, and I think the second was in India Today. You did talk about snooping. There was a 150-page document. It is like KGB or Stasi intelligence files on some ED, at least two ED officers who were involved in the raid. And this was a fairly detailed dossier. This dossier talked about not their job, reportedly about their personal life, family life, children, sources of income, habits, this, that. So it was a fairly detailed dossier. Now, talking about buying that software or whatever, snooping software from Israel, and government of Israel rejected it, saying that they deal with national governments of any country. They don't deal with state governments. That's how Home Ministry got involved, because it was rejected, and they were stupid enough to file an application to Home Ministry that we want to purchase this as part of our governance or vigilance. Now, these activities are not new. They have been going on sustained basis. So somebody has been trained adequately in intelligence gathering operations. Just imagine, first time in the history of India since 1947, a chief minister of a union territory is running a surveillance operation against government officials, ED officials, including central ministers. And first time it came was in 2017, when a feedback unit was found being run by Vigilance Department under Sisodia. And it was brought out that Najib Jung was one of the targets, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. And as late as 2023, there were talks about, I think CBI was probably going to file a case against Manish Sisodia for this snooping operation. It is very alarming and very disturbing that not only you are chief minister of a union territory and you are snooping on cabinet ministers of the central government. So yes, there is definitely some training, some instructions from spying agencies to this person or to this individual how to snoop on the national government officers, administrative officers who are doing their duty. And this is very, very concerning. And I'm pretty sure at some point in time, more details will come, but it is in open that a 150-page document was seized from the Sheesh Mahal, along with electronic equipment, mobile phones, laptops, everything. Of course, the agencies are not going to release everything that was seized, but things are going to come. So the reaction by the German minister is there. You talked about Pannu admitting, but let's review back, go back to around year 2000. A serving IRS officer goes on study leave for 2 years. Starts in
दर्शकों ये बराबर सुनना. IRS officer goes on study leave for 2 years. Sir, go ahead.
Starts a non-registered NGO called Parivartan, ostensibly to fight corruption in income tax department, and promotes RTI Act, which came in Delhi around 2000. But it was Parivartan, a non-registered NGO, was getting money from abroad. How come a non-registered NGO is getting foreign money? That is one issue. Then after 2 years of study leave that ends, he goes on unpaid leave for another 18 months. Well, you are married, you have 2 children. What is the source of income? During fully paid study leave, yes, you were getting full pay, but then you signed a bond that, you know, you will come back to service and you will, at least, I think the thing is for 3 years or something like that.
minimum 3 years
Condition of
stipulation.
bond you have to. Then in 2004, he gets selected or elected as an Ashoka Fellow. Again, foreign money involved. Ashoka Fellows are given some money from foreign agencies. Ashoka organization is registered in United States. And in 2006, he gets Raymond Magsaysay Award. Between this time, he starts another NGO called Kabir Foundation. That gets its on record. And I'm not saying it is Arundhati Roy, the darling of the leftist media, who says that he got grants from Ford Foundation worth $397,000 for Kabir Foundation. He's got money from Rockefeller Foundation.
Yes.
He's got money from Open Society Organization, directly or indirectly, Soros outfit. He got money from Transparency International that is funded by Open Society of George Soros. So there are suspicious links. And this was raised by Arundhati Roy that this guy was getting foreign money and he was working against Congress government at that point in time using support of RSS. Very ludicrous this thing, but it is on the record. So in 2006, after he got the Raymond Magsaysay Award, and this is a very select award. Again, it is part of international agencies to prop up certain individuals, you know. Ashoka Fellowship is also given to Kailash Satyarthi, who eventually got Nobel Peace Prize. Similarly, Raymond Magsaysay Award has been given to Admiral Ramdas, who recently died but was part of the leftist communist circle. And his daughter Kavita Ramdas directly works for Ford Foundation and is married to a Pakistani citizen. So there are a lot of things happening. In 2006, he started another NGO along with Manish Sisodia, Public Cause Research Foundation. He donated his award money from Raymond Magsaysay Award to this new NGO. So series of NGOs that are getting foreign money in India. So you have to question whether government of India's FCNR, rules were being violated or it was being reported properly or any rules were violated. But all this while, he was a serving IRS officer of government of India. And in year 2000, he submitted his resignation, which was not accepted by government of India. Okay. Because rules were violated. He was supposed to pay the bond. He had refused to pay the bond. He threatened to go to the courts. And in 2011, 6 years after he submitted his resignation, the resignation was accepted because he paid the money that was paid to him for study leave. Apparently, it was 9 lakh few thousand rupees he paid to the government of India to be released from that bond. And the source of money, he got, quote unquote, no interest loans from his friends. And he wrote a letter to Prime Minister saying that please don't bother his friends, please don't harass his friends for extending a loan to him. So this guy has been doing unusual activities, and the source of funding is always doubtful. When Aam Aadmi Party was formed in 2012 after IAC agitation, again, the source of funding was foreign money. And Arvind Kejriwal's stance was that the money we are getting is from Indians living abroad. Now, there are a variety of Indians living abroad. One example is Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. who's a CIA asset. Everyone knows it. So there was money coming from Canada, money was coming from US, and they said, we are going to put the names of these NRIs on the website. It was done, and then the list was withdrawn. In fact, that led to a spat between an NRI, Dr. Manish Rayada, a neonatologist who was originally from Chandigarh and was practicing in the state of Illinois in US, who resigned from his job, came back to Bharat to work for Aam Aadmi Party, I think from 2013 to 2015. And there were policy differences, and he was kicked out of Aam Aadmi Party because he raised these questions of dubious donations and abuse of the foreign money that was coming in. And subsequently, Dr. Raizada joined Congress, and but he has been a vociferous critic of Arvind Kejriwal. He created a web series, 6-episode web series, Why He Left Aam Aadmi Party. So along with so many people who left Aam Aadmi Party, initial backers, including Shanti Bhushan, Prashant Bhushan, Shazia Ilmi,
Kumar Vishwas.
Sanjay, pardon?
Kumar Vishwas.
Kumar Vishwas, Sanjay Hegde. I'm glad that you mentioned the name of Kumar Vishwas, who is
Yes,
on
because
right
I purposely did that. I
on the
want to hear
video
that from
in
yes.
2019 said either I'll become the chief minister of Indian state of Punjab or I'll become the prime minister of Khalistan, independent Khalistan. So a person who has ostensibly given these statements and is involved and hobnobbing with Khalistani elements, was behind the Shaheen Bagh agitation, was behind the farmers' agitation, has taken anti-national viewpoints all the time, and is on the payroll of external agencies. The funding is coming for various reasons. I think that is a matter of concern. I would also like to highlight another episode. In 2022, Arvind Kejriwal wanted to go to Singapore. Why? Because he was invited to a conference of mayors of world cities. You are not mayor of Delhi. Delhi had at that time probably a mayor or 4 mayors, whatever the situation was at that time, because they had I think in early under Congress regime, they had divided Delhi Municipal Corporation into 4 corporations. The fact of the matter is that he was so eager to go to Singapore. Why? Because he wanted to be outside India where he could hobnob with these foreign elements. Let me bring another element. A prominent member of Aam Aadmi Party at this point in time is in UK, in London.
Raghav Chadha.
Raghav Chadha to get treatment for retinal detachment. Why can't you get treatment in Mohalla clinics? Are they not good enough? They were world class enough. That's a rhetorical political question. But there's a huge institution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad Institute of Ophthalmic Sciences as part of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Huge institution focusing on ocular diseases. Why can't you get treatment there? Why in London only? And while you go apparently to London for treatment, you are meeting with a member of House of Commons, Preet Gill, who is a Khalistani supporter. And you have the picture near MI5 office. At the same place, there is an office of CIA. There is an office of other agencies. And apparently there are speculations that a US citizen whose initials are BHO is also at the same time in London trying to meet various people. Now, this person by name BHO has been on a prominent administrative position in United States administration, and it is anybody's guess what BHO stands for. It stands for Barack Hussein Obama.
He suddenly gets into Rishi Sunak's house.
Yes. And in the same way, some of these NGOs that were created in Delhi, their offices were next to Amnesty International's office. So the point is that we have a political functionary whose rise was very fast, who usurped public emotions against corruptions. And prior to that, he was hobnobbing with members of NAC. He was called actually second son of Sonia Gandhi. He was so dear to the establishment during the UPA years. And the fact that he was violating the service rules led to that spat about resignation, and the resignation was, so even then there was a problem because this guy tries to bend the rules. You are clever by two halves. So all the information is coming that there is a lot of funding from foreign sources, and it's not just from Canada, US, by NRIs, but also citizens of Canada and United States that are of Indian origin. Just because a name is Indian sounding does not make them Indian. So if these are citizens of foreign states and sending money to influence the elections in India, I think there has to be a curb on that, because that is foreign money.
Okay, Adityanjee, I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question. We don't have much time, and a lot of things you have said. Not on those things, but I'm just going to ask you a very straightforward question, which an Aam Aadmi, what they call, no, Aam Aadmi Party, Aam Aadmi of India is asking to me. Very simple question. Is he a CIA mole or is he a deep state? Working on a long-term basis for the regime change in India, and which he doesn't succeed only because Narendra Damodar Das Modi came in.
So before I answer that question, I will make one more reference to an individual by name George Soros, who in February of 2023 in Munich Security Conference went and gave a lecture and said that democracy is in danger in India because of Narendra Modi, but there's still hope for democratic revival in India, giving certain hints, and openly pledged, I think, his money. I don't know how many $1 billion, but I think sometimes the quoted figure is $100 billion through Soros Foundation, or, for regime change worldwide. Part of that would be for India. And I think as a result of that open comment in Munich Security Conference, Dr. S. Jaishankar said that George Soros is an old, rich, and opinionated man, but also a very dangerous man. So as an analyst, as a person who just looks at the trends and connects the dots and is not privy to any government information either in India or in US, I cannot say specific agencies' involvement. But all this circumstantial evidence does suggest that he's a mole of foreign agencies, whether we call it deep state or whatever, I cannot pinpoint, but his involvement, his mention in various fora, in various documents as harbinger of democracy back to India. And the backers are not only in the Western countries, also in WANA region. For your viewers, WANA is our name for the so-called Middle East, because in India, Middle East is not Middle East, it's West Asia. The funding is also coming from West Asian countries for electoral purposes. So that is very, very worrisome, that a person who has been snooping on administrative officials who are doing their statutory duties on politicians, political rivals, members of his own cabinet, and central government's cabinet ministers, lieutenant governor, whole bunch of individuals, and has tried to run a parallel intelligence agency in Delhi under the Vigilance Department under Manish Sisodia, definitely from 2017 onwards, till as late as February of 2023. This is unheard of. This is really unheard of. So there are enough suspicions, and with the seizure of material from the Sheesh Mahal, whether that is electronic devices or documents, at least one document is being talked about openly in the press, 150-page dossier on two ED officials. Just think the enormity. East German intelligence agency called Stasi used to have files on every citizen in thorough detail. It's that kind of information collected on ED officials, especially two ED officials. One of them was present in the raid and the other one was guiding the investigation. So yes, I have no qualms in saying that he is probably a foreign mole of agencies, the deep state agencies that are involved in regime change, because his insistence on taking help from these agencies, the foreign money, the backup support he is getting from multiple countries, his propping up the Shaheen Bagh agitation, the farmers' agitation, being behind Amrit Pal's whole saga. There was another individual, Deep Sidhu, who died under unfortunate circumstances by a truck hit. So there are a lot of things involved with Mr. Kejriwal, and I am sure that now he is under arrest for very legitimate violations, corruption, scams, will be given due process of law as per Indian Penal Code or Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, whichever you follow. And I will again tell our viewers that it may have nothing to do with the central government's intention. It is
राष्ट्रीय
not.
पार्टी को अलग रखिए भैया, ये जो बात हो रही है वो देश के हित की बात हो रही है। देश के सामने एक षड्यंत्र रचने की, देश को बर्बाद करने की बात करने हो रही है। यहाँ राजकीय पार्टी मायने नहीं रखती। भाजपा नहीं आता, कांग्रेस नहीं आता।
Those people who are saying that, arrest of a chief minister before elections is unconstitutional, this guy should have responded to the summons in October of 2023 when national elections were not there. He is responsible for the timing of the arrest. And anyway, Rao's Avenue Special CBI Court of Kaveri Baweja put him to remand till March 28th. So that is a due legal process. He went to High Court. High Court told him to go and respond to the summons. He filed a special petition before Supreme Court and then realized that it's going to go against him. So he withdrew that. His lawyers Abhishek Manu Singh withdrew that petition.
So, Dr. Saab, we have come to the very last of our time allotted for today. दर्शक मित्रों, डॉक्टर आदित्य जी ने आज जो बताया है, what he has said today, bears a lot of significance. Some of you might not know the past history of a man called Arvind Kejriwal. मफलरधारी अरविंद केजरीवाल, सतत खांसता हुआ अरविंद केजरीवाल कौन है, क्या है, कैसे उसको बड़ा किया गया, बातें आपने सुनी। और जहां मैंने सवाल पूछा, इज ही अ मोल ऑफ CIA, वेल उसके काम सस्पिशियस रहे, शंकाशील रहे हैं। जब बाहर आएगा तब बाहर आएगा, मगर एक बात तो तय है, देश विरोधी काम करने में, देश विरोधी लोगों के साथ काम करने में ये आदमी पहले ही से जुड़ा हुआ है। और अब डॉक्टर आदित्य जी ने तो ये भी बता दिया हमें, एक जमाना में सोनिया गांधी का दूसरा बेटा कहा जाता था। वेल, मेक योर ओन कंक्लूजन्स, मेक योर ओन कंक्लूजन्स. Is he a CIA mole? Is he a deep state mole? I would certainly say so. Maybe he's a deep state mole. Not a particular agency, but has been loosely working with so many factions that want to damage India in some way or other. मित्रों, वक्त बहुत कम बचा है. I'm going to thank Dr. Adityanjee, take a minute from him where he'll sum up the whole thing. But before that, let me tell you something. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be going live after Holi, straight after Holi. And then we'll have a big session with Dr. Adityanjee once on geopolitical situation. Sir, last 20-25 seconds for you, whatever is time left.
One thing that we have not mentioned is the toolkit.
The toolkit comes in everywhere, sir.
So he is the ultimate beneficiary and ultimate member of the toolkit gang. I brought the term because, again, the activities that are done in coordination with foreign agencies, and then the reaction of German Foreign Office, which was very unfortunate, that without even knowing the circumstances, you are making a statement, oh, India is a democracy, they should follow the rule of law and judicial procedure. And you will find similar kind of reactions coming from other countries or media groups or NGOs or so-called Western upholders of so-called democracy. So just be prepared for that. But whatever is happening is an administrative action because somebody violated the laws, indulged in corruption. Don't try to link up the central government and the fact that Lok Sabha elections are happening with this event, because this had a life story of its timeline of its own.
Yes.
And Kejriwal himself is responsible for his predicament. I'm not saying that that was said by his spiritual guru, Keshav Rao Hazare, or so-called Anna Hazare.
So, Mitro, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. We are totally out of time. Dr. Adityanjee, very thank you very much. All the way from US talking to us and enlightening us with some bad facts which people needed to know. Mitro, फिर से like, share, and subscribe. See you again next time in next episode. Thank you.